Hey everybody, welcome back. Devin the OG, the original Grognard here for Lock and Load Publishing, and we're going to be taking a look at, obviously, Lock and Load Tactical. This is Enemy at the Gates, the expansion for Heroes of the Bitter Harvest, which is now on crowdfunding on GameFound, so go ahead and head on over there. Link will be in the comment section below. We just wanted to go ahead and go over this a little bit, kind of give an eyeball look at some of the things that you're going to get with Enemy at the Gates. This is an expansion. We've got 10 new scenarios. There's going to be 4 new maps, and it's going to come with a sheet of counters, and you kind of see one of the maps right here. And some of you who are looking at this may go, this looks awful familiar. Where have I seen a similar map? Oh, that's right. Squad Leader. Yes. We decided that we wanted to pay a little bit of homage to the tactical game that started it all for us, Squad Leader, way back in the 70s. So what we did is we went ahead and took a couple maps from the original Squad Leader, maps 1 and 2, I think it was, and we went ahead and we put our own little spin on it for Lock and Load Tactical. Now, the maps don't exactly match up size-wise. I mean, roughly 2 Lock and Load Tactical maps is almost one Squad Leader map board. So there are going to be differences that you're going to see, but I mean, plus we just wanted to kind of mix things up a little bit. If you kind of notice, the E5, E6, F6, this building and the Squad Leader is all one building, but we decided to break it up a little bit. And but yeah, so there's 4 new maps, and they're going to look real familiar because they are. And we decided to put some scenarios in that would pay homage and just the Lock and Load Tactical spin on some classics. I mean, probably the most played tactical scenarios in existence: Guards Counterattack, the Dzerzhinsky Tractor Works, and Streets of Stalingrad. So we're really going to hope that people will enjoy and appreciate the work that we put into this to pay homage to that great classic. This is not most of this fighting. Enemies at the Gate is going to be covering the actions in and around Stalingrad itself. In Heroes of the Bitter Harvest, we had one scenario that I can speak in the English honestly, that highlighted the first day of Sixth Army stepping into Stalingrad. Enemy at the Gates is more just the fighting. There's a couple scenarios of the fighting leading up to, but the rest of it are all fighting inside Stalingrad. Now, this isn't our Stalingrad module. I mean, it is a Stalingrad, but it's not going to be the big full box set that we plan on doing in the future. It's kind of a little teaser and a little taste of what we're going to have in the upcoming Stalingrad game, which will probably 2 or 3 years down the road. But we're working on it. So since with the unique fighting in Stalingrad, what we have is we got a couple 3 new rules. We got a new terrain type, Severe Rubble, which represents the heavy bombing and airstrikes that the Germans conducted in Stalingrad, which basically, a Severe Rubble, nobody can go into it. It's just so bombed and blasted out. I mean, it's just, you could probably make your way through it, but not in the time scale that a turn in Lock and Load Tactical is. Snipers can't set up in them. It's kind of an impediment terrain, and a lot of times that happened in Stalingrad. I mean, it was so bombed and blasted and ruined and collapsed buildings that you just couldn't make your way through it. We do have a new special rule on how snipers work. Snipers can now reposition. So, if you place a sniper someplace, if you want to, you can remove it from the board, put it on the turn track a couple turns later, and then when that turn track comes up, so if you say you place the sniper on turn 1, use it turn 2, you decide to pull it off to reposition it. On turn 4, you'll get to reposition again somewhere else on the board. It kind of represents that the unique nature of the sniper warfare that was in Stalingrad. A lot of snipers would operate in several teams. So, that kind of explains, all right, this sniper over here, say he's in C7, he goes ahead and disappears, but when he comes back on, he comes back up here in like J2 or something like that. It's not necessarily representing that's the same sniper, but multiple sniper teams. And snipers would have a lot of different prepared positions, and so we just thought would be kind of a cool new rule that allow your snipers to kind of reposition because of how snipers operated in Stalingrad. And then the final rule that we went ahead and installed in is we gave sewer movement. And if you look right here, we've got these greenish brown circles on the map now, and they actually represent sewer entrances. And so if you want to, as a full movement, a unit can enter a sewer hex and try to move to any other sewer that's within sewer entrance that's within 4 hexes. So that's representing jumping into the sewers. Mostly it's the Soviets that can do this. The Germans really didn't know the sewer system well enough. So most of the time you're going to be seeing the Soviets being able to pop through the sewers and such. But it's basically a dice roll. It's a 3 through 6 modified by leader, and then the unit can move to any other sewer entrance within 4 hexes. If they pop out in an enemy hex, then they go jump right into melee, but they take a little bit of a hit. It's a -1 on the melee to hit table, mainly because there's no real, you're not able to close the distance with a broad front of troops. I mean, you're coming through a sewer, so you're kind of filing out of the sewer one at a time. Hopefully not right under the guns of the bad guys. So you're going to suffer a little bit of a penalty if you try to move, if you try to melee into a unit that's already got enemy units into it. Well, like I said, it's -1, so it's not that big of a deal, but it could swing the balance one way or another. If you fail the roll, if you roll a 1 or a 2, then you're marked ops complete. So I mean, it's kind of an all or nothing thing, and it takes all of your movement. You can't use it with assault move. You can't use it with assault fire or low crawl or anything like that. It's your entire movement if you want to move from one sewer entrance to another. So those are kind of the new special rules that we have. And I did want to show real quick something I kind of did with the scenarios. This is your standard looking tactical scenario, coffins of steel and oil. But if you look under the order of battle, you've got for the Soviets, elements 168th Rifle Regiment, 138th Rifle Division, set up first, yada yada yada. You've got the normal setup. And then you've got some options down below, and choose 2 of the 3 following options. So you've got a little bit of variability in your forces that's going to be available in some of the scenarios. Like 3 or 4 scenarios I did this with. Sometimes both sides will have it, like in this scenario. So and choose 2, so the Soviet can choose either 4 squads, 2 anti-tank guns, or 2 76mm off-board artillery strikes. You can choose 2 of those 3. And the Germans, elements of the 103rd Panzer Grenadier, 36th Panzer Regiment, 14th Panzer Division, has the same thing. They can choose 2 of the following options, which is either 1 Panzer 3J, 3 234s, which are those combat engineers, or 2 weapon teams, machine gun weapon teams. So I'm hoping that'll kind of give a little bit more replayability with the variable forces that you can choose from. Sometimes you'll have 1 choice out of 3. Sometimes, like in this, there's 2 choices out of 3. But that's a little something I picked up when I was working for Critical Hit all those years ago, doing scenarios for ASL. So yeah, we just wanted to show off a little bit of this. So let's go ahead and jump into this. Again, this is Streets of Stalin, or Guards Counterattack. Everybody who's played Squad Leader, this is probably the most played scenario in existence. One little thing that we found converting Squad Leader scenarios to Lock and Load Tactical is in the Squad Leader basic rules. You have the option to have 1 squad attempt to self-rally every turn. And for the most part, that's really good, because sometimes squad leader scenarios got really big, and we never really had a need to do that in Lock and Load Tactical. However, converting the squad leader scenarios over to Lock and Load Tactical, we realized, all right, that's just not enough leaders sometimes to cover all the forces that are on the board. So we've got a scenario special rule that kind of mimics that for some of the scenarios. Depending, it's usually the bigger scenarios, because if you remember, the old squad leader scenarios are 10, 15 leaders in the counter mix. Whereas we have 4 or 5 leaders. So sometimes with the bigger scenarios, you just don't have enough leaders to cover all the rally attempts. So we've gone ahead and implemented scenario special rules for some of the scenarios, especially the bigger ones, where you can try to self-rally units that aren't stacked with the leader. You just declare a hex and say, all right, I'm going to try to rally these guys, and you just follow the normal rally procedure for them. It keeps units in the fight a little bit more, and like I said, with the bigger scenarios, when we don't, one scenario that I'm thinking of, Red Tide South, has got like, I don't know, 35, 40 Soviet attacking squads, and there's only like 5 leaders to cover them all, 4 or 5 leaders to cover them all. So it's like, yeah, need to give them a little bit of a bump and a little bit of a help. So this scenario actually does have that. Excuse me. So, but let's go ahead and just look at it real quick. Again, people have seen this setup before. You know the game. You know the scenario. You know the situation. Soviets are trying to capture more buildings than they lose to the Germans. Soviets start off with initiative on turn 1. And let's just go ahead and jump right into this and play out a little bit just to see how the initial gameplay through this will go. And just because we can, I think what we're going to do, these guys are in a sewer hex. That's a sewer target. I think we're going to go ahead and have these guys. Hey, it's a good way for us to show off some of the new rules. We're going to have these 2 Russian squads and the DP-28. They're going to attempt the sewer movement over to here. Now, again, you roll it by all the units that are moving. If you want to, you can try to move the units over one at a time. It'll be a different impulse, and you have to make a separate roll for each one of them. But let's go ahead and move the entire stack. So let's roll a 1d6 and we got a 5, which is a success because you need a 3 through 6, and there's no leadership modifier there. So that takes their entire movement and puts them right there, which puts them right into melee. So let's go ahead and explode the stack and take a look at what we're looking at here. So basically we've got 1, 2, 3 to 1. So it's going to be 3 to 1 odds, and the Germans are probably going to do 1 back at the single squad that doesn't have the DP-28. So it's going to be 3 to 1 for the Soviets, 1 to 1 for the Germans, and the Soviets are going to be suffering a -1 because they're coming into melee out of the sewer hex. And let's see, that's not the table I need. Where is my melee table? And nope, that's the up. Yeah, here it is right here. So 3 to 1. So the Soviets need a 5 or less, and the Germans are going to, well, it's going to be a 6 or less because they're at the -1 on the dice roll. The Germans are at 1 to 2, so, or no, 1 to 1, so they're going to need an 8. So let's go ahead, roll 2 dice for the Russians, 2 dice for the Germans. 8 and a 7. That is going to be the kill for the Russians. And let's see, 1 to 1 is an 8, which is not going to be anything. So the Germans will lose, they will die, and the Russians will capture the hex and remain in that hex. So it's kind of a nice little opening maneuver. We get the, we managed to cross this road without getting shot at by the MG42 right there. 7.92 MG, that's the MG42. Take a look at the art. I love the artwork that Ivan did on this stuff. It's just phenomenal artwork. All right, so the Germans' turn. What do the Germans want to do? Well, we could try to rush over here to capture this building. Want to keep that MG. We got a couple squads up there. Do I want to move these guys? I can try to move these guys over here. No. I got 2 squads and an MG34 there. But I haven't spotted them. I can't shoot into there because they're in melee. I could, well, even if I do a low crawl, I still can't fire into them because it's melee. Part of me thinking just move the MG34 up, but if the these guys move up to here, then they'll be spotted, and that'll let all these guards units, guards everywhere, 12 guards units. That's a lot of guards infantry. So yeah, I'm thinking play coy over here for now. If I try to make a spot, it'll be a 1 to 2. Well, let's go ahead. And instead of being indecisive on things, let's go ahead and have this guy try to spot there. It's going to be a 1 dice blocking terrain. I need a 1 or a 2. Oh, look at that, 2. Got the spotted on him. Who'd have thought? All right, so since I spotted him, I can now shoot on him. Shoot at them. So we've got one machine gun, or one squad with the MG42. So one squad plus 1. Remember, every squad beyond the first is half firepower rounded up. So 1 plus 1 and plus a half, which rounds up to 2, and then another 2 from the MG34. That's going to be 4. No other modifiers for the attacker. The defender's in a heavy construction building. It's going to be plus 4 in there. So it's basically an even dice roll. So let's go ahead and roll 2 dice. We got a 7, and the Germans or the Russians got a 9, so it's going to be no effect. So we'll mark them with a fired. And well, that MG40 or that 7.92 MG42 is definitely can see them. So these guys might as well get the shots off before that machine gun opens up on them. So we're going to have 2 squads. 1 plus a half is 1.5 rounded up to 2. So it's going to be a grand total of 2, and the Germans are in heavy construction, so it's going to be 2 to 4. Germans are going to get a plus 4. Russians are going to get a plus 2. So we got, well, that's going to be nothing because that's a 1. So it's going to be 3 for the Russians and 6 for the Germans. So that is going to be no effect. We can pull the spotted marker off and put the fired marker on there. Okay, so now we got these guys up here. You know what? I think I'm going to hold this machine gun fire right now because I want to see what the Soviets are going to do up there because that's a good fire path. Yeah, let's go over here and do something with these guards units. We can't see, and I don't think I'm going to get lucky enough to spot again. So... well, as I keep trying to tell everybody, reconnaissance is the art of going out and getting shot so your buddies know where the bad guys are at. Let's go ahead and take this stack. We'll go 1, 2. These guys are going to op fire at them. So let's grab the fired marker. This is going to hurt. All right, so the Germans have got 1, point blank, 2, 3. And the Soviets are moving, so it's going to be a plus 4. The defenders are moving in the open, so it's going to be nothing. So it's going to be a 4 to nothing. Germans get a 4, and they got a 7, and the Soviets have a 6. All right, so that's actually pretty good. That's only a difference of 1, and we've got 3 Soviet squads in there, so it's going to be 3 morale tests at plus 1 on the dice roll. So let's just go ahead and roll all 3. 3, 4, that's good. 4 plus 1 is 5. 5 plus 1 is 6. Oh, they survived that fire with no problem. And guess what they're going to do? Yeah, they're going to jump right in there in melee. Okay, it's going to be 6 to 1, and the Germans are going to be 1 to 2 in return. 6 and 1, that's just going to be that's going to be a 3, and the Germans are going to be at a 10. So we need to get a 3 or higher for the Soviets. That's a 5. That's going to kill them. The Germans need a 10. That's an 8. That's nothing. So the German squad is kaputt, is toten. And the Soviets make it right into there and don't have to mark them. Where's my melee marker? I just had the melee marker. Oh, yeah. Clone. All right. That was not a good start for the Germans. All right. What are the Germans going to do now? All right. I think Sergeant Fitz is going to low crawl. No, let's not low crawl there, because if I low crawl there, I'll be adjacent to an enemy unit and they can spot regardless. So I think staying there is the safest thing. I really want to get this MG42 up. Actually, you know what? I'm going to leave the MG, or that's not 42, it's a 34. We're going to leave them there. Lieutenant Garner, let's take a look at what he's got. He's got an MG34 and a squad, and I can't shoot into the hex that's next to him because he's in a melee. So, but let's see, are we in? And we are not in a sewer hex, so the Soviets over here. Now, I know there is a sewer hex here. I think Lieutenant Zima's on it. Yep, Lieutenant Zima's on it. So they're not going to be able to move into that hex. They could move into that hex, but that would overstack them. Lieutenant Zima could move over here to Sergeant Fitz. That's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's 4 hexes. That's a possibility. No, I don't think I want to do that, though. I think what we want to do, how many units we got here? We got 2 units there. All right, you know what? Let's take these guys. 1, 2, 3. Let's reinforce this building because that MG42 is going to be a pain to knock out, I have a feeling. So let's move those guys there. Actually, it was the Germans. Well, Germans pass. So the Soviets, Germans, what do they want to do? I think we're going to pass again with the Germans. Now, what do we want to do with the Soviets? We got lucky once trying to charge across. I'm not sure we're going to get lucky again. Indecisiveness will end me every time. All right, so let's go ahead and go 1, 2, and then these guys will open fire. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for point blank, 7 for firing at troops in the open. Ew, okay, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Yeah, no defensive modifier. So the Germans get a 7, the Soviets get a 0. So we've got an 8 to a 5, a difference of 3. So we've got 3 units there. So 3 dice, 3 morale checks at +3. 5, 6, 7, 8, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so one of them shakes. And the other 2 can keep moving. And let's go ahead and jump them into there. Now, the problem is the MG42... Oh, no, the MG42 can fire. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so the Soviets is going to be 1 to 1. And the Germans are going to fire at 2 to 1. So what are we looking at? Nope, the good order leader is just a more dice roll modifier, right? Yeah, to the dice roll. All right, so we've got 4 to 3. Take our little handy chart. Attacker 4, defender 3 is 3 to 2 odds. 3 to 2 is a 7, and the Germans are going to be firing at a 3 to 2, which is 3 to 2 odds. Let's make sure I'm looking at that right. 4, 2, yeah, both are 3 to 2, so it's going to be a 7. So both of them need a 7. Germans are actually going to need 6s because they've got the leadership or the leader there. So 4 and 10. That is not good for the Germans. Germans get wiped out, and the Russians are now occupying the building. That has turned out poorly for the Germans. All right, so what are the Germans going to do now? Oh, we got a melee marker. Let's clone, put the melee marker there. Germans, what are they going to do? Can't fire there. You know, if Germans are going to pass, because Fitz over here still has got a good fire base. And he can put fire over here if the Russians try to occupy the... And obviously, the Soviets don't need to move up. they've got the building covered. So, yeah, the Germans will pass. What are the Russians going to do? Actually, I think we've probably gone on long enough. Yeah, it's probably like half hour. 24 minutes. I only wanted to go about 20, 25 minutes. So anyways, that is the beginning of the turn for the Germans. Now, you think that the Germans are in, or the Soviets are in really good position because they've captured one of the buildings already. But the Germans still got a lot of fight. Germans could probably just abandon this building, move these guys over here, try to secure this building, and then these guys can move a fire base over here to capture this building away from the Soviets. So yes, things have gone very good for the Soviets so far. It doesn't mean it's going to continue to go that way. But anyways, also did want to mention the next video that we're going to be doing for this is going to be showing off the solitaire system. There's been a lot of interest and a lot of questions about how the new solitaire system, how it's going to possibly interfere, and that's not the right word I want to look for. There's a lot of questions about the solitaire system. People are asking that if, well, I already own the solitaire system. Is this what does that mean for me who already owns the system? We'll explain that in the next video. So we're gonna go ahead and cut it here. Questions, comments, concerns, complaints, criticisms in the comment section below. I'll talk to everybody later. Hey ya.